think we're open, in terms of their ability to compete to make the club. I think we're gonna find out more, but I think they've put themselves in position. Specifically, Jackson's case. Last year getting to Double A, playing well in the Double A setting. He had a really good off season. And I think with Jacob Morrissey, Graham Pauley, those guys, getting to Double A and then playing in the fall league. Jacob, being the MVP of the fall league. The league's designed to speed up the development of some really talented players. We think they're really talented, and we know their work ethic and how hard they work. And I think though they're coming here not just for the experience. They're coming here to kind of see where they stack in with our current group and our current club.
Michael King said in the offseason, and people have been raving all the last few days about what you got back in the Soto trade, and he said he thought you guys won the trade. What's your take on what you've seen so far of the haul you got for Soto?
Yeah, no, I think we're excited just in terms of trying to identify a lot of pitching talent and depth. We knew we were going to have some holes and some openings that we're going to have to fill. And I think kind of the guys have come in as advertised, especially from a makeup standpoint. Work ethic, aptitude. Our scouts and staff did a lot of work on a lot of guys in that system. There were a lot of guys that we looked at, but the 5 that we chose specifically, I think because of the way they go about their business, the way they want to learn and grow, and that's what we've seen really from the 4 pitchers and from Higashioka. So I think we're excited. We're excited to see how they do and how they perform, and those guys I think they're excited about the opportunity.
AJ, with Peter gone, what's been the talk in the organization about the plan going forward, both in baseball ops and business?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, again, obviously, Peter, led in a lot of different ways, but I think in terms of messaging, it's all about winning championships. It's all about, getting to the postseason, putting a really exciting product on the field. That hasn't changed in any way whatsoever. So, Eric Katsenda stepped in, and we're constantly in communication, similar to, myself, Peter, Eric Rubner on the business side. So that part's been pretty similar, and I think in terms of big picture messaging, no, it's all about winning and going to win championships, and that hasn't changed in any way at all.
AJ, how much work do you think is left to do with the roster right now, and how much flexibility do you think you have to do it?
Yeah, we have flexibility. I mean, I think part of that is we've tried to put a lot of time and effort into adding depth and quality to the team and the roster. So there's going to be some fun competitions to watch here in spring training. But again, it's been a later developing market. Really, I think we've had real honest trade conversations that are still ongoing. That usually at this point in the season, most teams are kind of focused on they have their roster getting to spring training, going and playing. We've been pretty active, in terms of still obviously some talented free agents that are out there. Obviously, we signed Profar, yesterday, the day before, and there's some active trade conversations. And similar to last year, I think I don't know if we had Michael Wacha at this point in time in the season. So, we're always going to be looking to add and improve. The team that starts right now or starts camp here in the next couple of days, it's not going to be the team, that obviously we finish with, and there'll be a lot of different options as we go through the year. And honestly, I think there'll be some options as we go through spring training.
Is outfield a bigger need right now, or is it more so first base, DH, bat?
Yeah, I think probably outfield. I think we have from an infield standpoint, with Cronenworth, Kim, Xander, and Manny, and some other depth behind that with Jackson and Graham and some other 6-year frees that are here. I think from the outfield standpoint, obviously a good place to start with Fernando Tatis, and adding Profar to the depth standpoint. But we're going to continue to look to to add to the outfield mix. We like some of the competition we have in the camp currently, but that's an area that we've had some ongoing conversation with both free agent and trade market as well from the outside.
Do you still have some money to spend?
Yeah, no, it's again, every year we get budget standpoint.
Right.
I think that's kind of the flexibility as well. There'll be some flexibility from a player standpoint, and then also from a dollar standpoint. So I think we're open. We do have the ability to add if we'd like to. I've said it before, we're not just going to add to add. It's got to be the right player in the right situations. And going into the year with some dollar flexibility as well will be attractive. So we'll weigh that out as we go to the next couple of weeks.
I mean, Scott still has his 4 free agents out there, right? I mean, Snell is one of them. Is there any possibility that that could reemerge and he could be back with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Blake, like we obviously he can help any team. I think everybody, we all have seen it the last 3 years. He's incredibly talented. He never really comments specifically on any one free agent, but Blake can help anybody. He's a super talented pitcher, and I think any team would be good to have Blake. But again, like specific players, individuals, that's internal, and we'll keep looking at different possibilities, both in the on the position player side and on the mound. But honestly, there's a lot of excitement for the group that we have here. We think we've got a lot of guys that are going to step up this year. Last year at this point in time, Seth Lugo was kind of a little bit of an unknown in terms of what he could do, in a rotation standpoint, and he was able to step up. And then we added a Waka. And then obviously Blake had the Cy Young season, but I think from this year's standpoint, we have a lot of guys that we think are going to step up and perform well for us this year. And I think that'll be a big part of the camp is kind of evaluating that group and sorting through them and see how close some of our prospects are and seeing which guys do take a step for us.
What was your take on Cronenworth's season?
I mean, I think with Jake, I think he'll be the first to tell you. He's probably knows there's more in the tank, knows there's more on the field for him. I think the one thing with Jake though is when he really started getting it going, he got hit and got hurt, So I think we're starting to see him kind of round into form and swing the bat the way we know he's capable of. But he's a winning player, he's a guy who controls his zone. He's a really good defender. He can play multiple spots. I think he had a really good off season by all accounts. I think he's excited to come in here and show the type of player that we know he is. And I think he's going to be motivated to come back and have a big year for us.
With the outfield prospects, guys like Merrill, Marcy, Paulie, how do you balance the potential needs you have on the roster right now with their development, considering some limited experience at, say, the AA level?
Yeah, we're not going to force anything. At the end of the day, we're not going to look up and hurt their development process. For a need basis, we won't do that at all. We'll make sure that if they're not ready, then they go and continue to develop. So I think that'll be a lot of the conversation. Spring training is trying to judge that. Sometimes spring training is not the best time to evaluate, but I think we know those guys well. We kind of know where they're at. And we'll weigh that out, in terms of where they're at, ability to help the team. But I think coming into camp, we're open-minded. That's probably the best way to phrase it, to the possibility of seeing where they're at, and again, seeing if they're the best option for us, and on top of it, it's good for them and they're ready to play.
When you have the number of guys that are kind of there, knocking on the door, AA, that are close as you have right now, what is the balance between building a roster that affords them opportunity, but also kind of needs to make them earn it?
Yeah, no, I think you always want to make sure that guys are earning their, that they're earning their spots in the big leagues. You're never going to hand something to somebody, but we've seen it here in the past. Guys like Chris Paddock, guys like obviously Fernando. When he came in here, they took the jobs. And I think that's what we're looking for is players that come in here and just take the job and make it pretty clear that they're the best option for us. If they don't really do that, it probably means they need more time down in the minor leagues. So that'll be a lot of things that Mike and his staff will be looking at consistently. Our front office and scouting group will be talking about it, but we're going to look to see if I think when guys are ready, they kind of show you that by kind of taking the job and performing consistently, and that'll be part of our evaluation process in spring training.
You've traded a lot of prospects away in the past. I know maybe that's changing now, but outside of Fernando, there hasn't been a lot of homegrown success here. What makes you guys confident that some of these prospects can stick here and be successful with the Padres?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I think that's each situation. Each situation is different on the individual. I think for us, a big part of it again, is we have you spend time with this group. We know this particular group, and again, each is on kind of the individual player, but they're guys they're made right. They're baseball smart. They work hard. And they've got real talent and ability, and it's a lot of guys. So again, we'll see how camp breaks and how the year goes for the group. But again, I think not naming the specific guys, but when you look on the field, you can tell guys ability to play the game, be instinctive, be intelligent, be smart, and then some of the history we have in the last few years. we're gonna give those guys opportunity to go play and see how it plays out for us.
AJ, what did you make of Fernando's wanting to play as much winter ball as he did, and I guess what did that tell you about maybe what his motivations are for this coming season?
Yeah, we were supportive. I think a big part. Obviously, we asked questions, like why and the purpose of it. And I think a big part for Fernando when we talked, at the end of the year was, I think he knows that he's looking forward to his a full season this year. He also knows that he wants to improve. He wanted to get better, and I think he felt like this was all geared. He enjoys playing winter ball. He enjoys playing for his dad in the Dominican. He enjoys playing for the Dominican fans. But really, the biggest thing is he knows his commitment to the Padres, and he made that clear to us that it was about, I want to have as big a year as I can for San Diego this year and for the team, and he felt like playing winter ball, working on some things off the field, and then being able to take them into games. I think you saw it the year before with Ronald Acuna, who went down to the Dominican, worked with his dad a little bit, was able to went and played some winter ball. So I think he just said, look, I'd like to be able to try some things, not in a big league game, in a big league setting, but in a winter ball game. So I think for us, it added up where, hey, he could do both. He could enjoy, his time in Dominican and go play, which he loves doing. But there was a purpose and a reason for it, which he made clear. It was to try to get better for the Padres for this year. And, hopefully he did that this year.
How much better do you think he can be than what he showed last year?
No, he's capable of. You never want to put a ceiling on Fernando. He's capable of more, and he knows that. I think obviously the defensive portion of it was, for him to go to a new position. We were here at this point last year, spring training, and they were, again, he was learning a new spot, and it was pretty clear he was learning a new spot. But you saw the upside and the potential in his athleticism. By the end of the year, he ends up winning the Platinum Glove. So that just shows you what he's capable of in all aspects on the field. So I think both running on the bases this year and then at the batter's box, he's been a Silver Slugger, All-Star, and obviously, what he can do defensively. I think that's, for us to contend and challenge and compete and go win a World Series, it's probably Fernando being the best version of himself, and that's kind of being a five-tool guy that can dominate on both sides of the ball, and I think that's what he expects of himself.
When you see the starting rotation, do you see any room to improve, being a new free agent or using a trade?
I think again, we like what we have in the camp, but we're always open. I think we talk about it all the time. I think almost all teams say you never have enough starting pitching. It's not just an adage; it's the truth. So I think from our standpoint, we're still having conversations with free agents, position players, and pitchers. And also still having some active trade conversation. But on the pitching side, we're we like the group that we have coming into camp, and we think some guys are going to step up, similar to what we've seen in the last couple of years. We think we have some guys that are going to show well, but you're always looking to add. I think that's we're always open to that for sure, especially on a starting pitching standpoint.
And there's and the outside, there are lots of rumors and buzz around Ha-Seong Kim regarding the trade. What is your message to him now?
Yeah, we've talked to Ha-Seong throughout the off season. Obviously, he's coming up on a potential free agent season. So I think we've been in communication with him, and he understands. I think what we think about him as an organization, we value him a ton. He's arguably our as important as any player for us on the field last year. He played great. So I think he understands that he's another guy that can impact the game on both sides of the field. And I think we're excited to have him here. And I think he understands the value he brings to us and what we think about him. And I think he's ready to have a big year, honestly.
Are you surprised Blake is still out there at this point?
Again, each year is different. I think we've been here and we've had a couple times where we've done press conferences here with some really good players, and you had the off season with Machado and Harper.
Right.
So every situation is different for different free agents. Every agent kind of takes it down different paths. Obviously he hasn't got what he's looking for yet. At the end of the day, I'm sure when he lines up on something he likes, he's going to do it. So.
What kind of interest are you still getting from other teams like him?
No, it's really all. I'm not going to go through one specific player. We've had a lot of conversation because of I think the depth we have in the system, and I think it's again you can see overall whether it's on a farm system standpoint, you see prospect rankings. The more important thing is when other teams are calling and asking about our players. So we just had a lot of conversation about a lot of our players. I think with the Kim situation, we were pretty consistent through the off season. you're never going to hang up the phone. You're always going to listen on any player when anybody calls. But it wasn't something we were pushing in any way. I think it was basically, you see him as a huge part of our team. I think most likely if we're going to play well, it's Ha-Seong Kim in the middle of the diamond for us, playing like he's capable of playing. I think the teams understand that. Teams will call from now and then, but I think we've tried to make it pretty clear that we want to have our team pretty set going into this period of time, and I think he's a part of it for sure.
Have you had any conversations with him or his agents about a long-term deal?
Yeah, I mean we've I'm not going to go into any real details, etc. But we made it known to Ha-Seong that we value him. He understands that. And, again, ultimately, it's hard to line up on some of these things at times. So that'll be, something, in terms of how that all plays out in the next, over the course of the next few months. That'll be between us and Ha-Seong and his representatives. But he understands kind of where we're at and what we think about him. Yeah, I think he's hit every checkpoint so far this off season. So he's here the last couple of days. I haven't had a chance yet. Today I guess he got out on the field, so I have a chance to see him personally. But in this camp here, but he's had a good off season in terms of coming back from the surgery. I know he wants to be ready to go play in Korea. So far he's tracking towards that. I think we feel good about that. Where he's at. He's put the time and the work in. He spent a ton of time in San Diego this offseason with our with our training staff, and I think it's showing so far in the early stages. But we'll kind of continue going step by step. But so far he's tracking to be ready to play.
Two different players, but how much does what Lugo did last year maybe provide a blueprint for Michael King this year?
Yeah, again, everything's on the individual, but I think it's good that we have that experience as an organization. I think it just comes down to to communication. I think we're not gonna say, hey, you're going to max out at this amount of innings or anything like that. Again, he's 28 years old, I believe, and he's pitched a lot, in the major leagues. It's not like it's a, 19, 20, 21-year-old prospect that has never really gone through a point of a season. But I think Ruben, the staff, the training staff, having that experience last year with Seth, and it'll just be, Michael, the little bit we've gotten to be around him here over the last, 4 or 5 months. He's a good communicator. He's pretty clear with his thoughts, and he's very professional. I think those things are all play a real role in it. And again, I think for us, having the experience last year helps. Each guy's a little bit different, but I think Michael's a real professional. I think as long as everybody's communicating, we'll make some good decisions here on how much he can do.